Seth works at the Animal Control Center. He loves animals and he is a very introverted man. On this day, he leaves home for work, where he feeds his animals, including one which he names Lexi and loves so much. After work, he takes a bus home, and on the bus he sees a very familiar lady. He sits beside her and calls her by her name, Holly. She asks him where he has known her from, and if she has a reason to know him. So he tells her he is Seth, and they attended the same high school. She assumes they were classmates and asks to confirm, but he says they weren't, and she was his 1-year junior at school. But he knew her, and almost everything at school knew her too. She smiles at his confession and continues writing in her diary. He asks if she is now a writer, but she's actually putting on a waiter uniform, so he asks her if the waiter uniform is just a disguise. He laughs with her and says it could be. She tells him she is now at her stop, and she comes down from the bus before he can ask her if he could take her to dinner. That night, he stalks her online and finds her Facebook page. He looks at her pictures and even sees that she has a dog. The following day, he goes to work and he asks the security guy in the workplace how he could confess to the lady he likes her. Although he tells him it's none of his business, but later advises him that if he wants to achieve something like that, he must be confident and daring, and he has to approach her confidently before she would accept to go out with him. He goes into the office, where the doctor tells him they have to kill his favorite dog, Lexi. He takes Lexi to the doctor, who sees how he is towards the dog and asks him if he wants to take the dog. He claims his house has a no pet policy, and the doctor advises him that the reason he is still living that way despite his age is that he isn't daring, and if he wants something, he should learn to go for it. He refuses to take the dog, and the doctor kills it. He goes to dispose of the dog and returns home. At home, he stalks Holly again, and he figures she enjoys seafood. He plans to go to her workplace the next day and ask her out for lunch at a seafood restaurant. As planned, he goes to her workplace the following day. She comes to serve him and asks what he wants. He tries to make jokes about the writer thing they talked about on the bus, but she can't remember any of that. He reminds her he is Seth and they've met before, but she claims her memory is blurry. He asks for water and she walks away to attend to him. He visits her restaurant, and this time, when she serves him, he asks if she enjoyed a particular show and if she would like to attend with him because the person he wants to go with bailed out on him. She rejects his offer and he tries to convince her otherwise. She tells him she has a boyfriend, but he says he knows she doesn't have any, so she walked out after giving him the bill. On the bus and her way home, she feels like someone is stalking her. She returns home to her roommate and friend, Claire, telling her that a guy is outside. Claire tells her she is just paranoid, and at about the same time she receives a call. When she goes to pick it up, it turns out to be her ex-boyfriend Eric. She tells Eric to stop drunk dialing her number, reminding her how he had cheated on her and what led to their breakup. After the call, Claire tries to advise her that she thinks her 2 years with Eric still matter, and that she can reconsider and forgive Eric. Holly doesn't feel the same way. She claims Eric did terrible things to her, and she can't let go. The following day, she returns to work and her colleagues tell her they received a rose on her behalf. When she checks it, she sees a letter, and the sender asks her to be his. She assumes the sender is Eric, so that night she goes to the bar. Eric works, but finds out he isn't the sender. She tries to convince her to forgive him, but she refuses and walks away. She goes to a corner to smoke and write, and on her way out, Seth asks her if she saw the rose. She got angry, asking him if he was stalking her. He tries to explain to her that he loves her and he wants to be with her. She attempts to leave, but he goes to stand by the door. She feels threatened, so she hits him and tells him to leave. By the time she finds her way back into the bar, Seth follows her. To feel safe, she screams that Seth attempted to touch her indecently, so Eric jumps down and goes to hit Seth. Seth falls and starts laughing. Eric hits him repeatedly, but he succeeds in stealing Holly's diary before Eric throws him out of the club. He takes the diary home and starts reading it. That night, when Holly goes home, she notices her diary is missing. She finds it with Claire, who asks her if there are any means of identification in the diary so the person that finds it can return it. But she walks away. The following day, when Seth goes to work, he finds a hidden basement at his workplace and he clears it. He goes to take a sedative injection too, and he starts stalking Holly. He stalks her till she gets home, and in the night while she sleeps, he injects her and sedates her. He keeps her in a carton and goes to work, lying to the guard that he wants to make a delivery. The guard insists that he sign in, which he eventually does, and when he's about to leave, the guard hears the sound from the box. The guard comes to check but assumes the sound could be from the AC, so he gives up and allows Seth to go. Seth goes to the basement and puts Holly in a cage. When she wakes up, he visits her with food and water, but she refuses to take anything. So he walks away after telling her that he is doing that to save her, and he will return the following way. That night, Holly speaks to a figure of Claire behind her, who tells her that Seth will kill her, and she will only lose her life if she remains there without doing anything to escape. So she promises herself that she will surely escape. The following day, when Seth arrives, he gives her food and drink and says they will talk the next day. When he comes the next day, she asks him if he is going to rape her, but he says no. She asks if he wants to kill her, and he says he hopes he won't have to do that. When she asks what he means, he tells her he just wants to save her, and if he finds it difficult to save her, he may have no choice but to kill her. He claims his life before he met her was like floating, and no one cared about him. But when he met her, he felt he had a purpose. He claims he felt she was different from others, but he didn't know it was a pretense. And now he knows the Holly that she shows to others. He claims the real question is, which is the real her? The one she hides or the one she shows? He leaves her again, and this time she continues with her strategy plan with Claire. He returns and shows her her diary. She asks if he thinks he knows her from the diary. He reveals that he knows how she found out Claire was having a relationship with her fiancé, Eric, and how she took Claire on a long ride, and in the ride she confronts her and starts speeding. They got into an accident and they were both injured. She took a glass that had broken into her body and used it to stab Claire. So the figure of Claire that she keeps speaking with isn't real. It's just a fragment of her imagination. However, after killing Claire, she doesn't stop. She kills several other people, and Seth asks her why she is doing that. He says he wants to save her from hurting others. That is why he has her hidden there. She also pretends that she wants to be saved. The next time he returns, she threatens him that she will kill herself and he will be implicated. That disturbs him a lot. And the things happening also make him lazy at work, and his boss gives him a warning. One night, the guard, Nate, finds the basement and attempts to break the lock and save Holly. Seth enters and it causes a fight. As Nate is about to escape, Holly puts her leg out and follows him, and she advises Seth to hit him with the fire extinguisher and kill him. She also teaches Nate how to dispose of the body and lies to his boss that he couldn't find Nate. She tries to guilt trip him as he keeps claiming it was an accident. He disposes of the body and the police start their investigation, which makes Seth the main suspect. He returns to meet Holly and she asks him to prove that he loves her by releasing her, but he refuses and she asks that he cut off one of his fingers. He refuses and leaves. When she returns, he decides to cut it to prove his love. And after he does so, she takes the knife and threatens to kill herself if he doesn't release her. He releases her and she kisses him, confessing her love before slitting his throat. Sometimes later, she is back with Eric and he reveals that she will have her diary published as a fiction book. He asks her to bring his phone and she finds a mail from a lady. Instead of harming him, she leaves him and goes to a warehouse. She reveals that Seth is alive. Although mutated, she tells him what Eric has done and appreciates him for saving her because she no longer has to kill people, as she can take out all her murderous intentions on him instead.